Hey, yo, Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, help us out and click subscribe to show your support. And while you're at it, if you're sick and tired of spending $60 to $100 for the latest and greatest wrestling video game, stop immediately and go to Wrestler Unstoppable, available exclusively through Facebook. Create your wrestlers, sign contracts, get involved in storylines, headline pay-per-views, even build your own corporation, all included in Wrestler Unstoppable, available now to all Facebook users absolutely free. If you want to become a member of the Pro Wrestling Podcast family and want your name in the shout-outs, like our buddy Harold in St. Louis, our #1 contributor, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/ProWrestlingPodcast and sign up today. For the month of February, any $25 contributor will co-host an episode of Going Live with me, and any of our $10 a month contributors will be put into a drawing to also get the opportunity to host an episode of Going Live at 9:05. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this live episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast, broadcasting to you from the Quakertown Farmers Market. It's been a little while since we've done one of these live shows with the Worldwide Wrestling Alliance, a great organization based out of Hatfield, Pennsylvania. They put on great shows every second and fourth Saturday of the month. The second Saturday is at the Zern's Farmers Market in Gilbertsville, and our fourth Saturdays here at the Quakertown Farmers Market in Quakertown, Pennsylvania. Something you should definitely check out if you are a diehard wrestling fan looking to find an alternative to the mainstream WWE, give you the same matches every week on Raw and SmackDown. This is an opportunity to see a very different product and get really close to the action and have a personal interaction with the talent, something you just don't get to do at a WWE show. It's fantastic every time I'm at one of their shows. Special thanks as always to Dino Santa, the owner of the organization. He has been booking the Worldwide Wrestling Alliance for years and years, going back to when I was a child, and he's always put on a great product. So I'm more than thrilled to be able to put something out there to help out my buddy Dino. He is fantastic and such a great promoter, really is. I gotta tell you, tonight is the biggest crowd I have ever seen here at the Quakertown Farmers Market. It's really a cool thing because when this organization first started promoting here, we would be lucky we'd see about 50, 60 people. Now, if you told me there were 200, 300 people here, I would not be surprised. Great audience here in Quakertown. Before I forget, don't hesitate. Get your vote in right away for the greatest wrestler of the Monday Night Wars era. The voting is live right now. We are into the Elite 8, and the voting is at ProWrestling.com. Make sure you go in, click on the vote button, and get your votes in. You guys have done a great job of putting together some amazing matches in this round. I'm looking forward to see who you guys have come out on top of this tournament. Some of the people who have been eliminated, kind of shocking, I will tell you. I was thoroughly surprised to see The Rock and Shawn Michaels meet in the last round. I didn't want to see either one of them go before the finals, but unfortunately one has to stay, one has to go, and The Rock moved on in the tournament, and I'll be curious to see what you guys do going forward in the future rounds and seeing where this thing ends up. If you have questions, comments, concerns, anything you want us to address on the show, by all means do that. Give us a shout at the Pro Wrestling Sound Off line at 267-642-1160, and we can get your questions into the show and try to address them when we're on the air. Most of our episodes are broadcast live. If you are on one of our live episodes and you want to go into the Spreaker app, you can actually use the chat function directly in Spreaker and get your questions and comments right in live as we're on the air. By all means, do that. Check it out. Be a part of the show. And if you've never been to the Pro Wrestling Podcast before, by all means, check out our homepage at frowrestling.com, FROWrestling.com, and you can see all the topics and things we're going to discuss in the future episodes right there, so you can develop the questions, the comments, the concerns, the things you want to ask us ahead of time, and that way I can get them into the show, because let's face it, our fans, you guys are the driving force behind this show. Thank you so much to our loyal listeners who tune in every week. You guys are awesome, especially my buddy John in Hatfield. He is here tonight at the show. It's great to see him in person, so I'm sure when he gets home and replays this episode, I hope he realizes how much I appreciate seeing him at the show. He's a great guy. So let's get into the action for this episode. One of the things I wanted to have a conversation about is the fallout from Monday Night Raw. I think Raw was a critically important episode this week for a very important reason. Seth Rollins, who has been mitigated to mid-card status and really hasn't had a feud of any substance for an extended period of time, being stuck with the bar and tag team wrestling for quite a while, finally got the spotlight when he needed it and against the people he needed it most against. So Seth Rollins eliminating two of the biggest names in the history of WWE Roman Reigns and John Cena in the gauntlet match, which to me, when you have a match that goes almost 2 hours on television and Seth Rollins is a part of over an hour of it, that's great wrestling. And in this situation, Seth Rollins really put it out there. He showed why Seth Rollins deserves to be the face of the company. He is the best wrestler in the company right now. And I include AJ Styles in that conversation. Not because AJ Styles or Seth Rollins is better than one or the other, but because Seth Rollins in that match was booked significantly better than AJ Styles has been lately. AJ Styles is amazing, and what the reality is what we really need is for Seth Rollins to make the transition to SmackDown and to face AJ Styles, or for AJ Styles to come to Raw and face Seth Rollins, because those two are the best talents in WWE right now. Coming out of Monday Night Raw, you couldn't ask for a better match. It was phenomenal. The talents were all over the place. It was just a great, great show. When you get an opportunity, make sure you check out ProWrestling.com and go to Infro's Corner, where my latest article is up about who WWE should elevate in 2018. When you look up and down the roster and outside the company, there are certain people who they should absolutely be looking at bringing in and elevating. People who are already on the roster who deserve the opportunity to be elevated. For example, I don't want to give away the whole article because, of course, I would love for you to come in to the website and check it out, read the whole article. But I will tell you, it's about time that we saw a real legitimate main event push for Antonio Cesaro. And yes, I'm calling him Antonio Cesaro because I'm kind of boycotting this elimination of names, making people one-name talents anymore. This week, Apollo Crews losing the Crews part and just becoming Apollo. That's part of the news this week, talking about how Apollo's losing the Crews name because of the potential for construing it with the kid who pulled off that mass shooting in Florida. What a horrible thing for the world of wrestling to even have to think about. I just hope people get their heads straight with that. But WWE is at the point where it is time to start grooming the next wave of talent to be elevated. Look, if you look back historic, it really doesn't matter what era of wrestling you look at. There has always been the crop of talent that is the headline of the show. You had going all the way back to the incarnation of wrestling with people like George Hackenschmidt and Frank Gotch. You had the classic era with people like Gorgeous George and Antonina Rocca and people like that. And then when you went further, you also had people, and you get to the Attitude Era, the Stone Colds, the Triple H's, the Rock. You have all these era where people are the established mainstream stars. And let's face it, John Cena has been around a long time, so have many of the other talents. It's time to start looking at who needs to be the next wave of talent. One of those, I'll only give you one because I want you to read the article, but one of those is Breezango. Breezango has to be given a World Tag Team Championship opportunity. They were given a horrible gimmick, and they got over with the fans. During some of those really slow months when SmackDown was god-awful, they gave some of the most exciting action of anybody. So how can you not reward them with an opportunity to carry the Tag Team Championship? It's something that needs to be done, and hopefully Breezango gets that opportunity in 2018. They should be World Tag Team Champions. In New Japan and All Japan Pro Wrestling, there have been very few people who've had the impact of someone like the Great Muta. Currently wrestling for All Japan Pro Wrestling, the Great Muta is out of wrestling right now because he's going to need double knee replacement surgery. I know at his age, look, you're talking about a guy who's in his upper 50s. He's been going for so long, but now he's going to need double knee replacement, and his career is now in jeopardy. And I would hate to see the Great Muta's career end like that. He has been a legend in Japanese wrestling. He's been a legend in all wrestling, and it really would be amazing just one time, to see him in a WWE ring. I don't particularly think we're going to see that anytime soon, but hopefully the surgery goes well, and maybe, just maybe, WWE can extend the hand and bring him in for one, even on camera, just in the stands appearance, just so that we could say we got to see the Great Muta in WWE. But until he gets back, Great Muta, well wishes for you. I sent a message on Twitter. It's fantastic. He's such a great talent. One of my favorites when he used to feud with Sting back in the mid to late 80s. And it's something I really hope that WWE fans get an opportunity to appreciate now, who may have missed the Great Muta's career in the United States for the most part. Other news regarding 205 Live, it looks like we may be getting ready to see the return of a former WWE and WCW star Hurricane Helms potentially rejoining WWE and joining the 205 Live roster. He was making messages on Twitter, really made that impression that he may be interested in coming into 205 Live and challenging for that Cruiserweight Championship once the tournament is over. I would love to see him. I thought he looked great at the Royal Rumble. Would have loved to have seen him do a little bit more and stay in the ring a little longer, but it was perfect for being gone as long as he has. He got such a great reception from the fans, and it'd be great to see him in the ring a few more times. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that, see if Shane Helms or Hurricane Helms or Sugar Shane Helms or whoever version you want shows up in WWE, but it definitely would add a little bit of veteran spice to that very, at least from the WWE fans' perspective, inexperienced roster on 205 Live. I got to get to the big news this week. Jeff Jarrett, the founder of Impact Wrestling, the founder of Global Force Wrestling, former WWE Intercontinental Champion 6 times, former Tag Team Champion, European Champion, WCW Champion, NWA Champion. He's done so much in his career, even going back to world-class wrestling and the USWA. He's done so much, and he is now going into the WWE Hall of Fame. It is official. It's great to see him going in. I really, really appreciate WWE going out of their way to do the right thing by Jeff Jarrett. And what's really shocking to me is it sounds like Triple H was a driving force in being able to bring him into the Hall of Fame. It looks like he was the person who really made the overture and made the sales pitch to make it so that could be. So it's very cool to see him get that opportunity. I know he's very, very excited about it. When they showed, if you were watching online, you can find there's an interview they did with him where he talks about his ability to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, how there's only 200 people in the history of pro wrestling in there, and what an exclusive club it is, and how honored he is. You can tell how humble he really does feel about this induction. The other big news of the week, CM Punk making some major teases on Twitter, talking about whether or not he'll be at the Cody Rhodes and Bullet Club All-In pay-per-view September 1st, 2018. Rumor is it's going to be in Chicago, and he's messing with people by implying that he may be appearing at that show. Can you imagine if you wanted to sell 10,000 tickets to one of these arena shows? Bring in CM Punk, and you will sell those 10,000 tickets. I think he is the key to making that happen. Chris Jericho announced his big news this week that Kenny Omega has officially been signed for the cruise this year, coming up in October. It'll be great to see what they do with Kenny. I'm hoping that that's where we get to see the rematch between Kenny and Chris Jericho on the cruise. I think it would be the perfect main event for that show, something I hope we get an opportunity to have recorded so everyone can see it, broadcast it on like an iPay-per-view or something of that nature, some kind of distribution, but I think that's the match everybody wants to see, and that could really be what sells the Jericho cruise for a lot of fans who are kind of on the edge, teetering about whether or not they should go to the show. This could be what puts it over the top. And the last tidbit for tonight's episode is the discussion about what to do with Seth Rollins post-WrestleMania. It sounds like, according to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, that they are planning on turning Seth Rollins heel and having him feud with Roman Reigns. That feud has been done. It's old news. We need Seth Rollins to move on. We need AJ Styles to be moved to Raw, or he needs to move to SmackDown, and that's the next feud we need to see. It should have nothing to do with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. It should have nothing to do with Jason Jordan and Kurt Angle and all those things that are being hypothesized. What we need to see is a great opportunity for AJ Styles and Seth Rollins to face each other, and apparently that's not even in the cards. That's not even being discussed. It's really a travesty. You know, some of the matches that they put together this far in advance, they need to really, if your creative team can't come up with anything better than the same old matches we've seen for the last 3 years, that's a problem. That's a huge problem. So hopefully they figure things out and find a way to get Seth Rollins into a better program post-WrestleMania. But at this moment, I don't really see that happening. That's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next episode where we'll run down all the latest wrestling news and rumors. Special thanks, as always, go out to bensound.com and purpleplanet.com for producing all the music and sound effects used in today's show. Today's podcast is sponsored in part by Beazle Games. Bringing a new friend to family game night is easy with sketchy people. Showcase your artistic side in this new game from Beazle Games by going to frowrestling.com and clicking the icon in the middle of the screen. Pick up your copy today. And to alleyrepair.com. Contact Alley Repair today for servicing of all your classic skee-ball, pinball, and arcade game needs. If you're looking for your next career move and you're considering college, university, or you just need a little more training to get the next career opportunity coming your way, go to our other website at www.frolifeplanning.com for all your higher education needs, as Fro-Life Educational Planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro-Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Mr. Fro. I want to thank you for taking a few moments with us today. And if you're looking for more wrestling news and rumors, go to www.sportsjunkies101.com and check out the latest articles on the world of professional wrestling. Until next time, take care, everybody. Have a great night.